Hello everyone and welcome to altogether a new discussion which is about the references in bibliography, how these should be written and what are the differences between references and bibliography, that we will be also seeing. And depending on our documents, whether it is a PhD thesis or dissertation or project report or a manuscript publications, we have to prepare such a list of references or bibliography as well. As we have been going through, in between we have also covered few more points. So, here we are about to cover about the references and bibliography. And so, why references? This is very important question, that why we should put references. It is very simple, that we have to make sure that whatever the work we are doing, if it has been done already, whatever the approach they have done, if it is in the similar area, we have to give the credit. So, to ensure that others' research influences are recognized within your publication. Sometimes we get an idea while going through a research publication and then we start working on that, or sometimes by reading such outputs or research publications we get, we find that this is the gap which I can fill through a new study or new project proposal, and therefore, I have to give the reference of that paper which I have used or going to use in my work or publication. So, here we are only talking about in the publications. Even in case of project proposals, references should also be given if there are already. And as discussed in the previous video, that or previous lecture, that sometimes if in the project proposal, if the list of references is very short, some people might think otherwise. So, it does not matter. Honestly, if I have taken somebody's, I have read through, I have found interesting, I am going to work further on that, I should mention that one. So, referencing basically, if we would like to go through the definition, is the method used to ensure that others' research influences are recognized within your publication, thesis, dissertation, project proposal, project reports, etc. So, their work you are recognizing, because hoping that one day you would be able to produce a good work and others will recognize, and this is how the references goes on, and that while going through we develop the background, and that really helps to do further research and further work in different fields. So, basically the best way to give the references, if correct referencing is done, then it is the basically safeguard, or we will be avoiding accusation of plagiarism, which is a very serious case about this. So, we must take care. If I am using somebody's work, I have gone through, I have read, I must put in the list of references. Also, I should cite within that body of the text also. Further, it also that sometimes if a lot of references are there, and then the evaluator or even the author gets the idea that what are the gaps and other things. So, referencing also demonstrate which sources have used and how idea were built upon the research of others. Because what we are trying in the research domain or any other, that we are trying to find out the gaps in the knowledge or work, and that is what we are attempting. That is why originality or nobility in work will come, and that is why it will get published or will get the funding. So, therefore, if we do not read the others' work, then we will not be knowing what they have done, and whenever you are going to write a manuscript or project proposal which people have already done or reviewer knows about that, then there are no chances of publications or funding respectively. So, this is very important thing, that reading, background research should be done, and then referencing should be done. Now, there are two parts as earlier indicated. One is the citation within the text of the paper. So, if I have gone through a paper, I find useful, I want to mention it. So, I should mention in the body of the text, and also then I should give complete details about that reference lastly in the list of references. So, now there are two terms which are used in this domain, that is reference or references or list of references and bibliography. So, basically the major difference between a list of references or bibliography is that whenever we say list of references, that means that each reference which is given in the list of references has been cited at least once within the body of the text. That is what the list of references. And whenever we write instead of list of references or references, we write bibliography. Bibliography, that means that not all references which are given in the list under this bibliography have been cited in the text. There are many additional things which are given in the list, but they have not been cited. Why? Because very simple, that I might have gone through many papers, but I have developed my knowledge or understanding about a particular thing in a particular subject or a specific subject, but directly I am not using, I have not cited them. So, bibliography will always be larger than a list of references. That is what is there. So, bibliography in that way is another good thing, but depending, because journals will not generally accept the bibliography. They want each reference which have been listed under the list of references or reference heading must have been cited at least once within the body of the text. So, there are overlaps, that is why I said that the bibliography here and the references or so include citation of works which might not be mentioned in the text, but whereas in the references everything has been at least cited once. So, these are the important things in case of references and bibliography. Now, there are different ways of citing somebody's work depending on the format or guidelines given by a journal or a document, and there are no standard practice word over. Different journals follow different things, but most of the journal follows one kind of thing, that means you cite the work or a name of the author, which I will be just showing some examples, and then in the list of reference you provide the entire detail about that reference which you have cited. So, when you refer or cite or quote from an author's work in the body of the text, then it is required to acknowledge the source in the text and or in the list of references, and this is what is called in-text citation or citation of the work which has been there. Generally, it is done by putting author's name, author's surname rather I would say, and then publication year. This is given in the body of the text, and whereas in the list of references a complete details including initials and including name of other authors. There might be publications in which there are more than one author or more than two authors. So, therefore, in the list of reference you have to give complete details including the title of the paper which you have referred, including the name of the journal and volume, number, pages, everything has to come. The purpose here is that whoever is going to read that manuscript or project report, if he would like to see the work which you have cited, and then he should be able to reach to that reference very easily. Therefore, all details related with that reference, whether it is published or unpublished, must be mentioned in the list of references. So, if the name of the authors appear naturally in the sentence, only the year should be in the brackets. So, various requirements, various styles, some of the examples which I am giving. When in text citation, when you are citing within the body of the text, like if you are having one author, then you can write within a sentence like Saraf 2005, because there is only one author. And whereas in the sentence you can also write, that Saraf 2005 argues like that, or has done this work like this. So, this is how you phrase them. Now, when it is more than one author, like two authors, then both names should, surname will come within the body of the text and also in the list of references. When there are more than two authors, like three authors, then within the text, body of the text you will write like this, but at the end all the authors, their initials should come, and after that year and other details will come. Then if there are organizations who have supported, there might be a not single author you have taken from a portal or a publication which is by the organization board, not by the individual, then you can write a reference something like this. So, this is how the in-text citation. Some more examples are there, more detailed one, like similar researches were carried out in India by Saraf 2005, Saraf and Chaudhary 2005 et al. So, here a single author example, here is a two authors example. Similarly, Saraf and Chaudhary showed that there were pre-earthquake thermal anomalies in Iran before several earthquakes based on time series data. So, this you can also write in this way. Now, here et al. Is written when you are having more than two authors. Then in the text, body of the text, this is written. Whereas in the list of references, the all authors name will come. If there are two authors, surnames will come, and in the list of references, their initials will also come. Those things we will be also seeing. If I am using someone work which is published in a form of book and there is only single author, I will mention like this. So, then the following information, then it will come author, name of the author and published year. In the list of references, title of the book, edition, if later than first, then I have to mention the edition and who has published and place of publication. So, this will come under the list of references. For example, this is all just example, it is, do not try to find out a book written by myself, it is just an example, or you can say I am just prepared this one just to convey my point here, that when there is a single author of a book, then you will write like this: surname first, initials, then year, then title of the book, who whether it is first edition, who has published, and likewise. This is just example, do not take and start searching a book like this. Book with more than 3 authors. 2 authors example we have seen that we have to write their surnames there, but if it is more than 2 authors, then authors, published year, title, authors here, all details, surname and their initials. So, first author, in case of the first author, surname will come first and then initials. For other authors, it will come initial first and then surname, likewise. So, here again example is that Saraf AK, and now these initials are coming first for BP Misra, S Chaudhary and P Ghosh, then year, and then you are writing this first edition, Taylor and Francis, London. Again you will not find this book at all, this is just for example prepared by me to convey my point. Now, most of the journals, I am saying not all journals, they include the information or they require the information in the list of references like this, that the author or authors, then published year, title of the article, title of the journal, volume number, issue number in bracket, page numbers of the whole article. That means every relevant details related with that particular publications will come here, so that a person who would like to read further those papers or those references which you have referred can reach very easily. That is the purpose here. So, references in your text, how you would write when same author have more than one publication in the same year. Sometimes we have to encounter or we face this problem, that a particular one author or many authors together have published many papers in the same year, then how you would write. So, very simple way, we use the word alphabets A, B, C, and in the list of references the same way we mention. So, for example, here see that whatever is the sentence, then here it says the Saraf and Chaudhary 2003, 2005 A, B, C, and of course, it is different, because there are 2 authors, though year is same, but 2 authors are there. So, it can be, it is distinct in the list of references. So, these 3 ABC will come in the list of references as ABC, and the 2 authors remain common here. So, that is the way of writing in text citation about the author or authors who have published more than one publication in the same year, using ABC and the same way in the list of references. Now, in journals, like example I have already given, that previous examples were mostly from the books, now it is from the journal, like you are giving author's details, then year, then title of the paper, which is the journal, page number, and so on. Similarly, another example about A, you can have also B, you can also have C. So, in the list of references, this is how it will come. So, whenever in the body of the text, if it is written Saraf and Chaudhary 2005 A, then automatically it means this one. Otherwise, 2005 there are 3. So, therefore, we have to make distinction and ABC can be used. So, in the previous slide which I showed the examples, this is what in the list of references, this is how it will be written. Nowadays, lot many times we are using web pages and we are using their reference. Some are very authentic web pages from very well reputed organizations. So, how to write references about them? So, we have to provide again, if there are authors or organizations, the publication, title of page, and of course, we have to mention it is online. Another very important thing, one should try always to mention in the list of references, if it is web based information, internet based information, when did you access that page? Because today that page is accessible, tomorrow that might not be, they might have changed the address, IP address or other things. And then if somebody after 10 years goes and try to see the same link, may not work. Therefore, to ensure that the day you submitted a particular manuscript or project report, that date was accessible. So, you must mention the access date and whatever the available thing, and then HTTP or S or colon / and the entire address should be made available to the readers. So, that any time they would like, for example, like there is an example, Free Thoughts 2006, earthquakes in Iran, a geological perspective available at this site, accessed on such and such. So, you are making sure you are declaring that on particular day it was available, and after 10 years, 5 years, I do not have any responsibility of having, because you are not maintaining that page or portal, somebody else is doing. Now, sometimes instead of author, web page are from organization. So, almost in the same way, you write the organization name, publication year, title of web page, and the bracket online, access data, when you access that date and available, and then full web address should be given. Example here is like Relief Web 2003, IVC has, this is the title, and available online, this, and the day you have accessed, you can also write like here it is written. Sometimes the addresses are, these web addresses, HTTP addresses are very long, but does not matter, you have to write. There are no shortcuts. So, it is fine, no problem. Report, if I am accessing some report, many reports are also available online. So, the same way author, published year, title of the report, online available, reference number, if there is one, access date, available, full address should be given. Like here, science at NASA 2006, anticipating earthquakes, available online at this. And then you can provide also information about accessed date also. And now, how this list of references should be prepared? Generally, it is in the alphabetical order. So, you sort out in alphabetical order. It is not the way it has appeared in the body of the text, because the searching, if there are more than 10, 15, 20, depends on what kind of report or manuscript you are preparing. If it is a review article, there might be 30, 40 references. So, how would one search? So, the best practice which is being followed is in alphabetical order, the list of references. So, that for example, here I have presented from a publication that see the list of references here have been sorted out in alphabetical order. So, therefore, the searching within the list of references becomes much easier. It is not the way they have appeared. The first one, that here EMSC, that does not mean that this has appeared first in the text and later other references have come after that. No, not like that. So, this is a good practice of this is followed, but sometimes some journals are having altogether different way of citing a reference and preparing a list of references. So, for example, our Current Science in India or some other journals may be elsewhere, and they do not write like within the body of the text, they do not write author name and year. They will, in a superscript, they will write the number, and that number should match in the list of references. So, that list of references is not in alphabetical order, the list of references as per the reference appeared in the body of the text. And searching in the list of references becomes equally easy because the number is given. So, if it has appeared number as 1, then in the list of references it would be 1. But the problem is that I do not know who is 1 when it is written in the superscript form. So, then I have to check. So, that is the problem with this kind of style of writing citation and references. But most of the journals will follow in other way, which we have just discussed before this discussion. So, references should not include unpublished source materials. Even if you have included, you must mention that this work is unpublished and provide altogether whatever the details are possible also should provide. List of references at the end of text should be in the following format. What are those format? Like here, this is the example of current science, where you do not see within the body of the text surname of any authors and in the list of references. So, this way here it can be written like here, see the 1 or 2 there are references. So, this is just zoom part of that one on the right side. So, here it says 1 and 2. So, when I will go on the list of references, the number 1 and number 2, and these are the references first time they have appeared in the body of the text. First they have, not first time, but first they have appeared and therefore, they have got number 1 and 2. So, in the list of references that would be 1 and 2. So, we are coming to the end of this very important discussion. Let me tell you from my own experience, whenever I go through a PhD thesis or dissertation or a project proposal, many people are writing references in a very bad manner, and that does not show a good professionalism in this such kind of domain, because everything has to be very nicely meticulously mentioned or written. There, the purpose here, as recall the initial discussion under this lecture, is that the purpose here that one should be able to reach very easily the reference which has been given in the list of references. And therefore, it is important that everything should be organized in a very nice manner, especially in the manuscripts, dissertations, PhD thesis and project reports, because these things matters. If there are references which have been cited in the text and missing in the list of references, it is again very bad. So, therefore, it is very important that all those references which have been cited in the text must appear in the list of references. So, I gave the example like 1 and 2 in the current science method. So, they give the number and it is not sorted out alphabetically. It is the way the references have appeared, they will appear like this. So, with this I end this discussion. Thank you very much.